I want to talk for a minute about what law enforcement can do with children at the scene, and this can easily be adapted for medical providers, for really anybody else who works with children. We learned this because so many officers were coming to me and saying, Sarah, I'm so frustrated that we can't do anything with these kids at the crime scene. If they're not so badly battered and abused themselves, I got to leave them there, and there's just got to be something else we can do. So we did interviews with hundreds of children of domestic violence and just asked them 3 simple questions. What are we doing that's helpful? What are we doing that's not helpful? And what else should we be doing? And this is what we learned. First, that every single incident report has to tell us whether or not children are present at the crime scene and how many children live in that house. Because what we found is a lot of times the parents would send the kids out back or next door because they're afraid they're going to tell what's gone on. So in this way, even if we fall down on the job, maybe we get a prosecutor who pleads this case out to jaywalking or a judge who won't sentence this offender, we still know which children are in that house and we can follow up. We can try to get them into counseling through church, through daycare, through school, but we're going to follow up with those kids. The second thing we learned is that we need to interview these children alone. And we were surprised by this, but they kept telling us, don't ask me in front of my parents or my brothers and sisters what happened, because I'm not telling you. Because they know that there are going to be repercussions from that. So the only way we have a chance is very often by asking them alone. Now again, they may not be able to, but at least it gives them that chance. The other piece they explained to us is that a number of them go into hiding. Our kids told us they hide primarily in 3 places: under the bed, under the covers, and in the closets. So now our officers are trained to, just like our firefighters do, that if you see toys or anything else, you go and look for those kids. Because one of our wonderful officers noticed one time when a woman had been shot and the perpetrator had fled, and the ambulance is carrying off the woman and they were all ready to leave, and he started noticing all this baby stuff around. So he went upstairs and looked throughout the whole house, and there was a 3-month-old baby who was choking on his vomit. And the doctor said he would have died within an hour if that officer had not rescued him. So we now look for the kids. We look and try to see, are they under the covers, are they hiding in the closets? And one case that has really reinforced this for us, one of our officers called me and he said, Sarah, this case has changed my life. He said, we got to this crime scene last night. Mom had been stabbed. She was out cold. We called for the ambulance, secure the crime scene. Perpetrator had fled. We see all these toys around, so we look for the kids. Well, I go near the back of the house, and I can hear muffled crying from behind a closet. So I did just what you trained us to do. I knocked on the door. I said, I'm an officer. I'm here to protect you. I'm going to count to 5, and then I will open the door, because that's what the kids asked us to do. Give them a little warning. He said, Sarah, when I opened that door, this little 6-year-old boy had a loaded .357 trained on me. He said, if you were my daddy, I would have shot you. He said, when the fighting starts, I bring my sisters in here because I'm tired of the fighting. And it was his 4-year-old sister who could not stop crying, and she was holding their 6-week-old baby sister, who this officer said, Sarah, I was with those kids for 4 hours. That little 6-week-old baby never cried and never slept, has already learned how to be hypervigilant. But he said what really broke my heart is we got to the hospital, and this little boy didn't stop being the parent. He followed the nurses around. Could you give me some cookies? Maybe my sister would stop crying. And you got to give me the bottle. I know you people don't know how to test it. You have to put drops on your wrist and make sure it's not too hot. So you give it to me. And then he said, now you got to take me to my mother. And I said, oh, sweetie, no, it's 2 in the morning. You got to go to bed. And he said, no, you got to take me to my mother because I have to take care of her. When she gets beat up real bad like this, she doesn't wake up for a long time, and I have to take care of her. And you've got to ask, how does it come to this? That our little children feel like they have to take on the role of being the parent because they don't see us doing it.